The line for the latest on the story. Good evening, Sarah. Take us through the return of the 5 detainees who have arrived from Kenya as part of these peace talks.
Good evening, Tapile. What has happened is that this evening, about an hour ago, 5 former political detainees have arrived in South Sudan, the capital Juba, and they were accompanied by South Africa's Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa. The reason they have come back is because South Africa and Tanzania have been leading, as you heard there in that story, talks to reunify the ruling party here, and they believe that unless the party is reunited, the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, any other talks that are held will not bear much, because fighting in the country started because the party could not agree. So they are back to the country. They were received at the airport by jubilant supporters of the party, people whom they had worked in the party with earlier, and also by members of the East African Regional Bloc, IGAD, including Foreign Affairs Minister of Kenya and of Ethiopia, but also the chairman of Tanzania's Chama Cha Mapinduzi party. While here, they will meet President Salva Kiir, and they will also meet members of the SPLM. We understand they will not be here for long, just about 3 or 4 days, and then they will go back to Nairobi. These are only 5 out of 11 who had actually been detained, and then when they were released on bail to Kenya as investigations continue on whether indeed they wanted to overthrow the government of South Sudan.
Sarah, you mentioned earlier that their absence was a stumbling block. Why?
Well, it is felt that by not having them, because all of them are very senior members of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, SPLM, it was felt that if they are left out of any talks that will happen, whether in Arusha for the reunification of SPLM or in Addis Ababa, which are trying to seek a lasting solution to the 2-year crisis here, then it will be impossible to get the peace process moving forward. However, it is important to note that even now, even with these ones coming back to South Sudan and agreeing that they will be going back to Addis Ababa next month for the talks, Riek Machar, the main man and the rebel leader, has still not been cited. He's not going to be part of the talks that will be happening in Juba in 2 days, for the next 2 days. However, Mr. Ramaphosa says he spoke to him on phone, and he told him that it is very important that he joins the talks here in Juba, and also the talks that will be happening in Addis Ababa, and say that he told him that time is running out, the people of South Sudan and the international community's patience is running out. So the fact that these 5 people are here means that that part of the problem is dealt with, and one of the stumbling blocks now has been removed.
What sort of political agenda are they pushing for now?
When Dan Alor, a former Cabinet Affairs minister who was among those who returned, spoke, he said that they will be looking to speak to President Kiir first to tell him that the war must stop. Indeed, he said that both them as the members of the SPLM, who are now known as former detainees, feel ashamed that the country has gone this way. And they said they feel bad because they were the liberators, and now they're seen as the people who have led the country to war. So they said they will be asking that the war stops. They will also be seeking to have the party reunited, and they will also be seeking to have the transitional government formed as soon as possible. The transitional government agreement was signed in Addis Ababa, and both Machar and Salva Kiir, the president of South Sudan, signed. However, they have not been able to agree on how that government should be formed, who should be what position, and that is what is holding the country to ransom. Just to update our viewers, those talks in Addis Ababa were postponed indefinitely, and Deputy President Ramaphosa and the people here in South Sudan are hoping that those talks can begin again next week in Addis Ababa.
Sarah, we're running out of time, but we can't ignore the plight of refugees fleeing conflict there. What's the latest on that, just briefly?
Well, there are about 1 million refugees outside the country. There are more than 400,000 people who are sheltered in United Nations compounds inside South Sudan. Take, for example, today there has just been very heavy rain. Those people, most of them will be sleeping in tents that are leaking. Others have not enough food. The World Food Program has actually warned that the country is now faced with starvation. So it is a do or die. These talks must reach an agreement because the people are suffering, whether inside South Sudan or those who are sheltered in neighboring countries.
We'll have to leave it there, Sarah. Thanks for the update. That was Sarah Kimani, our East Africa correspondent, updating us on the South Sudan.